You're listening to the AI Moment with me, Jonathan Wagstaffe.
Me, Danny Denhard.
And Dan, what are we going to talk about today?
So this is really good, actually, something that I wouldn't have been able to answer instantly and had to reply with, I'll come back to you with a fully formed idea. So I thought we should dive into this more specifically, and it's what are the key performance indicators for AI? So what are the signals and the performance indicators that you can have that are having a positive impact on your business? How can we help understand if AI is having a positive impact? Is it time saved? Is it productivity? Is it less requests? Is it shipping more? You start, Jonathan. How would you tackle this one?
Well, I agree with you, Dan. I think it's one of the most common questions I've been asked over, certainly since Christmas, say, so last 3 months it seems to be. And a lot of it starts with people saying, okay, if AI is going to replace SEO as one of my key things I've got to do, I understand how to measure SEO and digital online performance in the old world. How do I measure that in the new world? And as you say, it's not as clear cut because some of the metrics we've used for SEO absolutely aren't going to work with AI. But we're really saying, okay, this is all very exciting, this AI stuff, but how do we measure that this is helping the business in a real way rather than just being exciting? And so lots of companies are out there doing AI and instinctively feeling like it's useful. They're struggling to find the obvious KPIs, which I think is probably where the question's coming from. So I think one place to start, and by no means don't let me give the impression to anyone that I've got this fully thought through. As you say, it's a complex subject and it's evolving quickly. But one of the things I've arrived at is maybe you start with the business outcome. So instead of saying how many people are using the chat bot, we start with, what business results do we want? Going back to what we were saying a couple of pods ago about mapping the workflows, where in the workflows are the places we think AI can help? Why do we think within our process that AI can help with that little bit of it? What result do we think we want from that? Do we want faster response times? Do we want more calls handled? Do we want shorter delivery cycles? Whatever those things are. So maybe one thing, you're not really measuring the AI directly, but you're saying, okay, we think it's going to change a business outcome. And so let's track that business outcome. That's somewhere that I think I'd start. The other thing that links to that is quite often the output is save time. I mean, we've all used AI and seen how it can do in 20 minutes what used to take us 3 hours. But I got an interesting question from a CEO a couple of weeks ago where he said, well, how do I measure what my people are doing with that saved time? How do I know they're not just drinking coffee and taking it easy or playing golf? That's an interesting question, yeah. So time saved is useful, but actually, what metrics does that translate into? They're the places I'd start, Dan. You must have other stuff alongside that from the work you've done.
Yeah, I would say on top of yours, I think the start of the business impact and the metrics is really important, and understanding and being able to reverse engineer that. The way that I sort of was breaking it down was quality of output, I think, is really important. Whether that's cost per task or transaction, I think is really important. How much does it cost from a token and infrastructure perspective from AI versus the human element of it? I think that's something that's all constantly overlooked. Speed is one, like velocity, that is one that everyone talks around. I would obviously agree, but I think there are ways to break that down. So there's the productivity side of it. So is it completing tasks more quickly, more effectively? Are cross-functional projects actually being completed more quickly and more effectively? Because that will show you've got the tasks and the productivity down, and how you're communicating that is really important. Are there quicker adoptions of your product features? So if you're making all of these changes and all these updates within your product, are they being adapted and adopted more quickly, and they've been more successful? And how quickly can you do the analysis side? And that giving you more, or, is it giving you more to do or less to do? And I actually think there's one point that you made that I don't think enough people are talking around is we've been able to give people freedom, free people's time up, employees' time up. But what we're not doing and not doing effectively is saying, are they doing more, or can they do it better? Because doing more work, as we've seen, the quantity doesn't mean the quality increases. If anything, it devalues it and lowers it. So I'd just be really mindful of that. The other point was to make on that is more and less. So although they conflict with each other, are you tackling more, like medium effort, medium reward things that actually will give you longer term growth. And there's that like problems that you've already identified, then you as a business has said, we don't really have the resource for it. This is ways that you can do it. And are there less support tickets? Are there less contacts that are being made to your business that you're having to put in resource to, or more, more agentic time or agent time? And then are the normal business metrics actually being hit? I think that's the most simple way to breaking it down and getting people to understand it. But there are ways that I think if you're super senior, there's the keep me out of jail metrics that senior people obviously talk around when they're in listed businesses. So the accuracy and the hallucination rates, is it good or is it high enough? And how much editorial time does it need from a human? What's the human in the loop rate? I think people are saying HITOR, which is like a new acronym that no one really wants to remember and learn, but is what percentage of the time from the AI output does a human have to go in and intervene or update or edit? And is that productivity? Yep. And then cost of inaction, right? So a lot of businesses will decide that they can't do something. AI is something that you can actually understand the cost of being static or status quo and not moving forward. And product decay rate is something you can measure. But I think what a lot of businesses have to decide now is whether they can move forward or they can't, and what is the cost of that. So there's a review. So if I was to break it down, it'd be velocity, quality, economic, and strategic. I'll put that in there. It'll definitely be in the newsletter in a better format. But they're the ways that I think around it. And it has to be around speed and efficiency, reliability and trust, cost and revenue, and then long-term value.
I completely agree. I think you've got to have those elements. I mean, the way I've broken it down is very similar. It's efficiency and speed, as you say, which is simple metrics, hours saved, turnaround time. It's quality, which is less errors, more consistent. And then there's the strategic elements you talked about, which are around the cost of not doing anything, and then also the number of experiments you run, the better customer experience, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm completely aligned with you there, Dan. I think something in the show notes just to summarize that would be good. And then I guess the other thing that possibly goes without saying, but let's just make sure we do say it, is those KPIs will vary. So in sales, it might be meeting prep time, proposal turnaround time, win support percentage. Operations, it might be product cycle time, or amount, as you say, a manual intervention, how much money in support, it might be first response time or case closed. Each department will have its own KPIs, business-based KPIs, which would sit on the framework you talked about, will be specific to that department, and that we can drill down to another level there for those departments. So yeah, I mean, I think your KPI set there was a really good one that businesses can measure now and start to give us a feel of how this stuff's working. So I guess my TLDL sentence would be, what do I measure in AI? The short answer is you don't measure the AI bit. You measure the impact the AI has on some of the business metrics that you already understand. That would be a very short sentence answer that I've arrived at. Really, while we've been talking on this pod, I've kind of, okay, what would be the summary there? That would be my summary. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I would say that you should try and have an AI where you can break this down just to break through signal and noise, so you actually get more signal than noise, and then have the human one. So how's it being assisted? So how's hybrid really helped? Because that will give you a context and say, should we invest more into it, or should we stay as we are and then ramp up once we get more confidence in that? So that's how I tackle it. But I think we've done a great job of trying to break that down and give people confidence on how to measure AI, but also AI and AI really with humans and AI working together.
I agree. See you, my friend, and I will see you next time.
Thanks for listening.
Good.
Thanks for listening today, everyone. If you liked what you heard, please give us a rating and review in any of the podcast players. We have a supporting newsletter, which is aimoment.co.uk, that comes out on Mondays and Fridays with every pod, and we dive a little bit deeper. So please subscribe there. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.